Blumenthal. We'll see if any of those questions get answered. Thank you for your time tonight. Also with us are my legal sources here, Elliot Williams, former federal prosecutor, Jamil Jaffer, who is a former associate counsel to President George W. Bush. And so it's great to have both of your expertise here because, Jamil, what Evan Perez was noting at that press conference was that they were aware of this traffic stop in 2022. Abrego Garcia was stopped with 9 other migrants in the car. They did not detain him then. And when he was asked what exactly has changed here, have you learned anything new, this is what the Attorney General said.
What has changed is Donald Trump is now president of the United States and our borders are again secure. And thanks to the bright light that has been shined on Abrego Garcia, this investigation continued with actually amazing police work. And we were able to track this case and stop this international smuggling ring.
Given that and what we heard 2 months ago after the Supreme Court order came down, how are you viewing this tonight?
Well, look, Caitlin, we'll see what happens. Trial. They're going to have to bring evidence forward, as Senator Blumenthal said, that demonstrates that, in fact, there was a conspiracy to traffic humans illegally across the United States. Now, the claim that they've made is that because they identified him, this whole thing went on. They dug into the case. It's within statute of limitations. And now they've identified apparently some witnesses. There's this guy in prison, Jose Ramon Hernandez Reyes, who apparently was a trafficker himself. He says he ostensibly says he hired Kilmar Abrego Garcia to help him. So we'll see. If they're able to present that evidence and convince a jury of his peers, then he'll go to jail. And if not, then the government will have to decide whether to remove him on his already removal proceeding that was taking place already going on.
Elliot, what do you see? Anything stand out in this indictment to you?
Honestly, Caitlin, there's just a lot of sloppiness in all of it. And that's not to say that the charges aren't legitimate or that the grand jury shouldn't be considered. But number one, starting with how the attorney general and others are speaking about it, if there is a human smuggling conspiracy, great, prosecute it. That's not what he's charged with. He's charged with transportation within the United States, which is an entirely a different crime. If they have evidence of additional crimes, they should say it. But the words that the attorney general and others were using were far broader than what's on the pieces of paper. There's sloppiness even in the arrest warrant. And I don't want to nitpick here, but they got the statute wrong. Look at the arrest warrant, and they mixed up the conspiracy versus the transportation. Now, again, is that a big deal? But maybe not. But if people are taking their job seriously and actually caring about enforcing the law, then maybe ought to give a little bit of care to the words that they're putting on the page. So I just think there's a lot of political taint to all of this, even if the charges end up being able to be supported in a court.
Well, and Jamil, we heard from Abrego Garcia's attorney earlier, who was on CNN, and said that they did not get a heads up about him being returned to the United States. This is what the attorney had to say.
We learned about it on TV just like the rest of the country. What's clear, this just makes crystal clear what we've been saying, frankly, for the past 2 months, is that they've been playing games with the court. They've been more interested in dragging his name through the mud than in actually sort of going through with proper court proceedings, just like it's been since day one.
How will that factor into what we see playing out in court?
Well, look, it'll certainly factor into this public debate that we're having with the Senate, the House. You'll see representatives coming out and criticizing it. There'll be criticisms of why they did this. Was this a political move, right? But at the end of the day, all that matters is what happens in that courtroom. Can they prove their case? And if they can, then Abrego Garcia goes to jail. If, by the way, they don't prove their charges, he's still subject to a removal proceeding. Yes, he was withheld from removal to El Salvador, but he's not in the country legally, and he can be removed to any other country in the world. So if the administration chooses tomorrow to drop the charges and remove him, they're within their rights to do that. So there's no doubt, plenty of criticism to be had. No doubt they removed him unlawfully to El Salvador, but that's sort of the limit of it. And now he's back here. He can face the charges the attorney's going to.
Yeah. Jamil Jaffer, Elliot Williams, great to have both of you here tonight.